Chapter 1. The Marriage I Didn't Ask For. I stood in the middle of Grandpa Henry's sprawling living room, my duffel bag slung over one shoulder, feeling like a stray dog dropped off at a stranger's doorstep. Grandpa, my actual grandpa, had passed 2 weeks ago, and his last wish was for me, Colton, a low-grade Omega, to be taken care of by the Marshall family. Apparently, taken care of meant getting hitched to Wayne Marshall, the S-grade alpha who looked like he'd rather chew glass than stand in the same room as me. Wayne was pacing, his polished shoes clicking on the hardwood floor, his jaw so tight I thought it might crack. "Grandpa, this is insane," he snapped, throwing his hands up. "There's a million ways to help him without tying me down. Why marriage?" Henry, perched in his leather armchair, sipped his coffee like he was watching a sitcom. "I've done my research, Wayne. Your compatibility scores are off the charts. You've been dodging relationships forever, and Colton's a good kid. What's the problem?" "The problem?" Wayne's voice shot up, and he pointed at me like I was Exhibit A in a courtroom. "He's an Omega. You know I can't stand Omegas. They're clingy, needy, and God, don't get me started on the heat cycles. And compatibility? That's just biology, not a love potion." I clutched the strap of my bag, my knuckles whitening. I wanted to shrink into the floorboards, but I kept my face blank. Wayne's words stung, but they weren't new. I'd heard worse from my own parents, who'd rather sell me off for a quick buck than deal with a useless Omega son. Henry set his mug down, his eyes twinkling with mischief. "Funny you say that, Wayne. You met Colton when you were kids. Remember? You followed him around like a puppy, saying you'd marry him one day. I'm just making your dreams come true." Wayne froze, his face turning a shade of red that clashed with his tailored suit. "That was a stupid kid thing. I was, 7? I don't even remember it." I did, vaguely. A blurry memory of a loud, freckled kid tugging at my sleeve, babbling about how we'd live in a treehouse forever. But that kid was long gone, replaced by this 6'2" tower of arrogance who looked at me like I was gum on his shoe. Henry waved a hand, dismissing Wayne's protests. "Doesn't matter. It's settled. You two are getting married. End of story." Wayne turned to me, his hazel eyes narrowing. "And you? You're just okay with this? You want to get married?" I swallowed, my throat dry. What was I supposed to say? That I had no choice? That my parents would have pawned me off to some creepy alpha for a payday if Grandpa hadn't stepped in? That marriage, to me, was just another cage, whether it was Wayne or someone else? I lowered my gaze to the floor. "Doesn't matter what I want," Wayne scoffed, running a hand through his dark hair. "Unbelievable. You're just gonna roll over and let this happen? What did you do, sweet talk my grandpa into this?" My head snapped up, a spark of defiance flaring. "I didn't ask for this any more than you did. You think I'm thrilled about marrying a guy who acts like I'm a walking disease?" His mouth twitched, like he wasn't sure whether to laugh or yell. "Well, at least we agree on something. This is a disaster." Henry clapped his hands, startling us both. "Enough bickering. You're signing the papers tomorrow, and that's final. Wayne, you'll thank me later. Colton, your family now. Get used to it." The next morning, I sat in a sterile office at City Hall, staring at a stack of papers that would chain me to Wayne for the next year. Wayne slid a contract across the table, his expression colder than the air conditioning. "Read it. It's a prenup. We live together, but we don't meddle in each other's lives. No strings, no feelings. 1 year from today, we divorce. Clear?" I flipped to the last page without reading, grabbed a pen, and signed my name in neat, deliberate strokes. "Clear." He raised an eyebrow, leaning back in his chair. "You didn't even look at it? Not scared I'm screwing you over?" I met his gaze, my voice steady. "You're not that creative." His lips quirked, a flicker of amusement breaking through his scowl. "Cute. But don't get comfy. I'm only doing this because Grandpa's got me by the balls. If it was up to me, you'd be out on the street." "Charming," I muttered, shoving the pen back at him. "Good thing I'm not here for your personality." He snorted, signing his own name with a flourish. "Keep that attitude. It'll make the next 12 months bearable." The clerk handed us our marriage certificate, a flimsy piece of paper that felt heavier than it should. Wayne barely glanced at it before tossing it to me. "Don't lose it. I'm not reprinting this crap." He stood, adjusting his tie. "I've got a meeting." You can find your own way home, right? I nodded, tucking the certificate into my bag. Don't worry. I'm used to fending for myself. He hesitated, like he might say something else, then shook his head and strode out, his long legs carrying him away in seconds. I watched him go, my chest tight. This was my life now, married to a guy who'd rather jump off a cliff than call me his husband. By dusk, I found myself outside the address Henry had given me, a sleek, modern townhouse that screamed money. My new home. I punched in the gate code, half expecting it to reject me, but the door clicked open. The place was empty, all glass and steel, like a showroom nobody lived in. Wayne clearly hadn't been here in a while. I dropped my bag on the floor and sank onto the couch, the silence pressing in. My phone buzzed, a text from Henry. Make yourself at home, kid. Give Wayne time. He's not as tough as he thinks. I typed back a quick thanks and tossed the phone aside. Time. Sure. I could give Wayne time. A whole year, to be exact. But as I stared at the bare walls, I couldn't shake the feeling that this marriage was a countdown to nowhere. I kicked off my shoes and curled up, my mind replaying Wayne's words. I can't stand Omegas. Great. Just great. I'd survived my parents' neglect, my grandpa's death, and now I was stuck with an alpha who thought I was a walking inconvenience. But if Wayne thought I'd beg for his approval, he was dead wrong. I'd survived this, just like I'd survived everything else. I closed my eyes, the weight of the day pulling me under. 1 year. I could do this. I had to. Chapter 2, in the same house. The next morning, I woke up on the couch, my neck stiff and my stomach growling. Wayne's townhouse was still as lifeless as a museum, and he was nowhere in sight. I shuffled to the kitchen, hoping for coffee, but the cabinets were bare except for protein powder and a single box of cereal that looked older than me. Typical. I grabbed my phone and ordered takeout, then noticed the front door's keypad blinking. Curious, I checked the log. Someone, Wayne, obviously, had changed the passcode last night to 06152026. Next year's date. The day we'd divorce. Subtle, Wayne. Real subtle. I smirked, re-entering the new code to test it. The lock clicked open. If he thought a passive-aggressive passcode would rattle me, he was in for a surprise. I dealt with worse mind games from my parents. Still, it stung a little, like he couldn't wait to erase me from his life. By noon, I was sprawled on the couch, munching on delivery tacos and watching a cheesy reality show about house flippers. The front door beeped, and Wayne stormed in, his suit jacket slung over one shoulder. He froze when he saw me, his hazel eyes narrowing. How the hell did you get in here? I popped a chip in my mouth, not looking up. Magic! You should try it sometime. He tossed his jacket on a chair, his voice sharp. I changed the code. You shouldn't have access. Oh, you mean your cute little divorce reminder? 06152026? Classy move? I grinned, leaning back. Took me 2 seconds to figure it out. Maybe next time, don't make it so obvious. His jaw twitched, and for a second, I thought he might snap. Instead, he ran a hand through his dark hair, muttering, You're a pain in the ass, you know that? Takes one to know one. I shot back, turning up the TV volume. You're home early. Meeting get cancelled, or did you just miss me? He scoffed, loosening his tie. Don't flatter yourself. I needed a file. And what's with the mess? He gestured at the takeout containers. This isn't a frat house. I raised an eyebrow, licking salsa off my finger. Says the guy with expired cereal in his pantry? If you want gourmet, hire a chef. I'm just surviving here. He opened his mouth, then shut it, like he couldn't decide whether to argue or laugh. Finally, he grabbed a bottle of water from the fridge and leaned against the counter, watching me. You're really making yourself at home, huh? Per Grandpa Henry's orders, I said, mimicking Henry's gruff tone. Besides, you're the one who ditched me at City Hall. Figured I'd at least enjoy the Wi-Fi. He rolled his eyes but didn't leave. Instead, he stood there, sipping his water, his gaze flickering between me and the TV. It was weird, like he was sizing me up but didn't know what to make of me. I ignored him, focusing on the screen, but my skin prickled under his stare. For someone who hated Omegas, he sure wasn't in a rush to get away. My phone buzzed, breaking the tension. A text from Henry. Dinner at my place tonight. Bring Wayne. 6 p.m. sharp. I groaned. Another family bonding session? I glanced at Wayne, who was now scrolling through his phone. Your grandpa wants us over for dinner. You going? He looked up, frowning. What? No. I've got plans. Like what, brooding in a penthouse somewhere? I said, half joking. Come on, Henry's not gonna take no for an answer. You know how he is. Wayne sighed, pinching the bridge of his nose. Fine. But I'm driving. And don't expect me to play happy couple with you. Wouldn't dream of it. I muttered, grabbing another taco. Just don't crash the car when you're sulking. An hour later, we were in Wayne's sleek black SUV, the silence between us thicker than the leather seats. He gripped the wheel like he was strangling it, his jaw set. I fiddled with the radio, landing on a pop song he clearly hated, judging by his grimace. So, I said, just to mess with him. You gonna tell me why you hate Omegas so much, or is it just my face you can't stand? He shot me a sidelong glance. It's not personal. Omegas are just high maintenance. Always needing something, always complicating things. I don't have time for that. I snorted. Right, because you're so low maintenance, Mr. I change locks to make a point. Ever think maybe you're the complicated one? He opened his mouth, then shut it, his lips twitching like he was fighting a smile. You've got a mouth on you, you know that? Better than a stick up my ass, I said sweetly, and he actually laughed, a short, surprised bark that made my stomach flip. Okay, maybe he wasn't all bad when he wasn't being a jerk. We pulled up to Henry's mansion, a sprawling estate that screamed old money. Wayne parked, then turned to me, his tone serious. Look, let's get one thing straight. We're here for Grandpa. No funny business, no acting like we're in love. We stick to the deal, separate lives, no strings. Got it? I saluted mockingly. Aye, Captain Grumpy. Lead the way. Dinner was a mix of awkward and oddly warm. Henry greeted us with bear hugs, ignoring Wayne's stiff posture. The dining room was all dark wood and candlelight, and Henry kept the conversation flowing, asking me about my old job at a bookstore and dodging Wayne's attempts to change the subject. I played along, keeping things light, but Wayne was quieter than usual, picking at his steak like it had offended him. Then it happened. Under the table, my foot brushed Wayne's leg by accident. He jolted, his fork clattering against his plate. I froze, heat creeping up my neck. Henry raised an eyebrow, smirking. You two okay down there? Young love, huh? Wayne's face went scarlet, and he shot me a glare like I'd done it on purpose. It's nothing, he muttered, scooting his chair back. Just cramped. I bit my lip to keep from laughing, but the mischief in me won out. I nudged his leg again, just to see what he'd do. His eyes widened, and he choked on his water, coughing like he'd swallowed a bug. Colton, he hissed under his breath. Quit it. Innocent, I whispered back, batting my eyes. Henry chuckled, clearly delighted, and I couldn't help but grin. Messing with Wayne was more fun than I'd expected. As we left, Henry clapped Wayne on the shoulder. See? Told you Colton's a keeper. You kids have fun now. Wayne just grunted, stalking to the car. I followed, still buzzing from the leg incident. Maybe living with Wayne wouldn't be all bad. At least I could keep him on his toes. Chapter 3: Heat and Hesitation. I woke up in Henry's guest room, my skin prickling with a familiar, unwanted heat. The bed was too big, the sheets too crisp, and the faint scent of mint, Wayne's alpha pheromone, lingered in the air, making my head spin. Last night, after dinner, Henry insisted we stay over, claiming it was too late to drive. Wayne grumbled but gave in, and now here I was, sharing a room with an alpha who'd rather sleep on nails than share a bed with me. Great. I rolled over, squinting at the clock, 2 a.m. My body felt like it was simmering, a low-grade fever that wasn't quite a full heat but bad enough to keep me awake. Fake heat, probably triggered by Wayne's stupid pheromones. Low-grade Omegas like me were walking targets for this crap. Our bodies went haywire around strong alphas. I groaned, burying my face in the pillow. Of all the nights. The mattress dipped, and I froze. Wayne's voice, low and annoyed, cut through the dark. Colton, stop thrashing. Some of us are trying to sleep. I turned my head, barely making out his silhouette. He'd claimed the far edge of the bed, wrapped in a blanket like a burrito, as far from me as humanly possible. Sorry. I mumbled, my voice thick. It's hot in here. He snorted. Hot? It's like 60 degrees. What's your deal? I bit my lip, debating whether to tell him. Admitting I was reacting to his pheromones felt like handing him a loaded gun. But the heat was climbing, my skin itching, and I was desperate. It's your fault, I said, half accusing. Your pheromones are messing with me. Fake heat. A long pause. Then, seriously? You're blaming me for your Omega nonsense? God, you guys are such a hassle. I bristled, sitting up. Oh, excuse me for existing. Maybe if you didn't smell like a mint factory, I wouldn't be melting over here. He laughed, sharp and mocking. Mint factory? That's rich. What do you want me to do, hold my breath? You're the one leaking grapefruit all over the place. My face burned. Grapefruit was my pheromone scent, and yeah, it was probably slipping out, but he didn't have to be a jerk about it. Forget it, I muttered, swinging my legs off the bed. I'll sleep on the couch. His hand shot out, grabbing my wrist. His touch was cool against my feverish skin, and I hated how it calmed the heat, even a little. Don't be dramatic, he said, his voice softer but still edged. You're not wandering around Grandpa's house at 2 a.m. Just deal with it. I yanked my arm free, glaring at him in the dark. Deal with it? Easy for you to say. You're not the one feeling like a human furnace because some alpha's in the room. He sighed, rubbing his temple. Fine. What do you need? Water? A fan? Tell me so we can both get some sleep. I hesitated. There was one thing that would help, a temporary mark, just a quick bite to flood my system with his pheromones and reset my body. But asking Wayne for that was like asking a lion to cuddle. Still, the heat was unbearable, and my pride was taking a back seat. You could mark me, I said, barely above a whisper. Temporarily. It'd stop the fake heat. Silence. I could practically hear his brain short-circuiting. You're kidding, he finally said, his voice flat. You want me to bite you? After we agreed, no, signed, that we keep this strictly hands-off? I hugged my knees, my cheeks burning. It's not like I want to. It's biology, okay? You're the one who triggered it. Just help me out, and we'll pretend it never happened. He shifted, the mattress creaking. Colton, that's a line we don't cross. The contract says no interfering with heats or ruts. You know that. Yeah, well, the contract didn't say I'd be stuck in a room with your pheromones setting me off. I snapped. You gonna let me suffer because of your precious rules? He didn't answer right away. The silence stretched, heavy with the hum of the AC and my uneven breathing. Finally, he muttered, Trouble. Always trouble. But then he moved, scooting closer, his blanket falling away. My heart thudded as he leaned in, his breath warm against my neck. Don't make this weird, he warned. And don't expect me to like it. Before I could respond, his teeth grazed my gland, sharp and precise. A jolt shot through me, cool mint flooding my senses, dousing the heat like ice water. I gasped, gripping the sheets, my body slumping as the fever broke. Wayne pulled back fast, like he'd been burned, and bolted to the bathroom. The door slammed, and the shower hissed on. I sat there, dazed, my neck tingling where he'd marked me. The fake heat was gone, but something else lingered, a pull, a need to follow him, to stay close. Stupid Omega instincts. I shook it off, curling up on my side. He'd done it. He'd actually helped me. But the way he'd fled made it clear, this changed nothing. Morning came too soon. Wayne was gone when I woke up, his side of the bed cold. Henry told me he'd left for a last-minute business trip, which sounded like code for avoiding me. I tried not to care, but the mark on my neck throbbed, tying me to him in a way I hated. Omegas got clingy after marks. It was biology, not feelings, but knowing that didn't make it easier. At breakfast, Henry poured me coffee, his eyes sharp. You okay, kid? You look like you've seen a ghost. I forced a smile, stirring sugar into my mug. Just tired. Big house, weird bed. He hummed, not buying it. Wayne's always been prickly about Omegas. Ever since he was a teen, people tried using pheromones to trap him, Omegas, mostly, but some betas too. Hotel rooms, parties, you name it. Made him cynical. But he's not heartless, Colton. Give him time. I nodded, my throat tight. Time. Everyone kept saying that. But time wouldn't change the fact that Wayne saw me as a problem, not a person. I'm not holding my breath. I said, keeping my tone light. He's made it clear where he stands. Henry patted my hand. He's stubborn, but so are you. That's why I like you. Back at the townhouse, I texted Wayne, just to test the waters. When you back? His reply came hours later, one word, today. No warmth, no explanation. I stared at the screen, my chest aching. Screw it. If he was dodging me, I'd dodge him right back. My real heat was coming soon, and I didn't need him around, complicating things. I grabbed my bag and headed for my grandpa's old place, a rundown apartment where I'd always ridden out my heats. Safe. Familiar. Wayne-free. As I locked the door behind me, I touched the mark on my neck, already fading. 1 year. I just had to survive 1 year. But with Wayne's mint still lingering in my veins, that felt harder than it should. Chapter 4: Danger and a Step Closer. I stepped into the alley behind my grandpa's old apartment, the familiar smell of damp concrete and stale beer hitting me like a memory. It was a rough part of town, but this place had been my sanctuary during heats, somewhere no one bothered me. My real heat was creeping up, my skin already too warm, my grapefruit pheromones leaking despite my best efforts. I just needed to grab my stash of suppressants and get out. Easy. The street lamp flickered as I rounded the corner, my sneakers scuffing the gravel. I was halfway to the building when footsteps echoed behind me, too close, too fast. My neck prickled, not from heat but from instinct. I sped up, clutching my phone, but a rough hand grabbed my arm, yanking me back. A sour, metallic pheromone hit my nose, and my stomach churned. Well, a voice slurred, reeking of cheap whiskey. A little Omega, all alone, smelling like a fruit stand. You lost, sweetheart? I twisted, hard hammering, but another guy stepped in front, blocking my path. 2 of them. Alphas by the stench. The first one's grip tightened, his nails digging into my skin. Smells like you're in heat. Bet you're just begging for someone to take care of you. Get off me, I snapped, shoving at his chest. My voice shook, but I aimed a kick at his shin, hoping to break free. He grunted, loosening his hold, but the second guy lunged, slamming me against the wall. Pain exploded in my shoulder, and my phone clattered to the ground, screen cracking. Feisty, the second one sneered, leaning in. His breath was foul, his pheromones choking. Don't play hard to get. You Omegas always want it. Panic clawed at me, my heat making my limbs sluggish. I thrashed, nails scraping his arm, but he laughed, pinning my wrists. Just as I opened my mouth to scream, a blur of motion cut through the dark. The guy was ripped off me, hitting the ground with a sickening thud. Fists flew, and I caught a flash of Wayne, his face twisted with rage, pummeling the first alpha like he was a punching bag. Touch him again and you're dead, Wayne growled, his voice low and lethal. The second guy scrambled up, but Wayne's glare froze him. Run! Now! They didn't need telling twice. They bolted, leaving me slumped against the wall, gasping. Wayne turned to me, his knuckles bloody, his mint pheromone sharp and grounding. Colton, you okay? He crouched, his hands hovering like he wasn't sure where to touch. I nodded, my throat tight. Yeah. Just shaken. My voice cracked, and I hated it. I wasn't some damsel, but my legs wobbled, and the heat was still messing with my head. He helped me up, his touch gentle but firm. What the hell were you doing out here? This place is a dump. His tone was sharp, but his eyes were soft, scanning me for injuries. Needed something, I mumbled, avoiding his gaze. No way was I admitting I was prepping for my heat. Didn't think I'd get jumped. He frowned, clearly not buying it, but he didn't push. Come on. We're going to the hospital. You're banged up. I'm fine, I protested, but he was already steering me to his SUV, parked crookedly like he'd screeched to a stop. I didn't ask how he found me, probably tracked my phone or some alpha nonsense. I just let him bundle me into the passenger seat, too rattled to argue. At the hospital, the doctor cleaned a scrape on my arm and checked my vitals, muttering about stress and heats. Wayne stood by the door, arms crossed, his face unreadable. When the doctor left, he stepped closer, his voice low. From now on, you don't go anywhere like that alone. Call me. I'll drive you. I blinked, caught off guard. Since when do you care? His jaw tightened. I don't. It's... Grandpa would kill me if something happened to you. Just don't be stupid, okay? I snorted, leaning back on the exam table. Wow, such a hero. Should I get you a cape? He rolled his eyes, but a tiny smile tugged at his lips. Keep talking, and I'll leave you here with the fruit-scented bandages. Grapefruit's a classic. I shot back, and he chuckled, the sound easing the knot in my chest. For a second, it felt like we were normal. Like we weren't just playing house for a year. Back at the townhouse, things got weird again. My heat was hitting harder, my pheromones slipping out despite the suppressants I'd managed to grab. I was on the couch, hugging a pillow, when Wayne walked in from the kitchen, his nose wrinkling. Jesus, Colton, you're at it again? What is it with you and turning this place into a juice bar? I flushed, burying my face in the pillow. It's my heat, okay? Actual heat, not fake. It's starting, and I can't help it. He froze, his playful vibe gone. You didn't say anything. Why were you at that shithole apartment if you knew this was coming? Because I handle my heats alone, I said, sharper than I meant. Always have. I don't need you babysitting me. He stared, his expression unreadable. Then he sighed, dropping onto the armchair across from me. You're a stubborn idiot, you know that? You could have gotten hurt today. Or worse. Yeah, well, I didn't. I muttered, avoiding his eyes. Thanks for the save, though. Didn't expect you to go all action hero. He shrugged, leaning forward, elbows on his knees. Don't get used to it. I just didn't feel like explaining a dead Omega to Grandpa. I laughed despite myself, the tension breaking. You're such a charmer. How do you stay single? Practice, he said, smirking. But his eyes lingered on me, and I felt it, that pull from the mark he'd left, the mint still faint in my system. My heat was making it worse, urging me to lean closer, to ask for more. I shoved the urge down, focusing on the TV I'd left on. Wayne didn't leave. He grabbed a beer and sat there, pretending to watch some cooking show, but I caught him glancing at me every few minutes. My pheromones were probably driving him nuts, but he didn't complain. When I started shivering, the heat turning into that weird fever-chill combo, he tossed me a blanket without a word. Thanks, I said, pulling it around me. My voice was small, and I hated how vulnerable I sounded. He just nodded, his eyes on the screen. Don't mention it. I curled up, the blanket smelling faintly of him. My heat was still there, simmering, but his presence, grumpy as it was, made it bearable. For the first time, I didn't feel completely alone. I snuck a glance at him, his profile sharp in the TV's glow. Maybe Wayne wasn't all bad. Maybe. Then my phone buzzed, a reminder from my heat schedule. I silenced it, my heart sinking. This was temporary. He was helping because he had to, not because he wanted to. I couldn't let myself forget that. Chapter 5, Words That Break Us. I leaned against the window of Wayne's SUV, the city lights blurring past as we drove away from Liam's house. The baby's first birthday party had been loud and chaotic, with kids running wild and Liam's beta charm keeping everyone laughing. For a moment, I'd let myself relax, even had fun teasing Wayne while we cooed over the chubby-cheeked guest of honor. But now, the warmth of the day was gone, replaced by a cold knot in my chest. I'd overheard Wayne in the study, his voice flat as he told Liam. Omegas are a nightmare. Always in heat, whining for pheromones like they'll die without it. The words looped in my head, each one a jab to the gut. I tried to kiss him in the car before we got to Liam's, just a quick peck like we'd started doing at home. He turned away, muttering something about keeping his pheromones in check for the baby. Fair enough, I'd thought. But after hearing him trash-talk Omegas, trash-talk me, it felt like a lie. Like all the soft moments we'd had since the alley, the late-night talks, the way he'd stayed close during my heat, were just him playing nice out of obligation. You're quiet, Wayne said, his eyes on the road. What's up? Too much cake? I forced a shrug, staring out the window. Just tired. Long day. He hummed, unconvinced, but didn't push. The silence stretched, heavy with everything I wasn't saying. My fingers twisted the hem of my shirt, my mind racing. I'd been fooling myself, thinking we were getting closer, that he might actually see me as more than a burden. But those words, nightmare, whining, proved I was just another Omega to him, one he ditched the second our year was up. Back at the townhouse, I kicked off my shoes and headed for the kitchen, needing something to do. Wayne followed, loosening his tie. You sure you're okay? He asked, leaning against the counter. You've got that look, like you're about to bolt. I grabbed a glass, filling it with water to avoid his gaze. I'm fine. Just thinking. My voice was tighter than I meant, and I cursed myself for letting it show. Thinking about what? He stepped closer, his mint pheromone faint but enough to make my skin tingle. Damn it. Even now, my body reacted to him, traitor that it was. I set the glass down, my resolve hardening. If I didn't say it now, I'd lose my nerve. You still hate Omegas, don't you? I asked, turning to face him. After everything, living together, the alley, my heat, you still think we're just trouble? His brows furrowed, caught off guard. Where's this coming from? I never said I hated you. You didn't have to, I said, my voice steady despite the ache in my chest. I heard you at Liam's. Talking about how Omegas are a nightmare, always begging for pheromones. Sounded pretty clear to me. His eyes widened, a flicker of guilt crossing his face before he schooled it. You were eavesdropping? That's not. He stopped, rubbing the back of his neck. Look, I was just venting. It wasn't about you. Bullshit. I snapped, my temper flaring. You were talking about Omegas, Wayne. I'm an Omega. Or did you forget that part? He opened his mouth, then closed it, his jaw tight. It's not like that. You're different. I didn't mean you. I laughed, bitter and sharp. Different? That's the best you've got. You've been crystal clear from day one, you can't stand Omegas, and I'm just the idiot who thought you might have changed. I turned away, my hands shaking. I'm done pretending this is anything it's not. Colton, wait. He reached for me, but I dodged, heading for the desk in the living room. I'd seen the divorce papers in there, tucked away like a dirty secret. Wayne had them drawn up with the prenup, a reminder of our expiration date. I yanked them out, flipping to the signature page. What are you doing? His voice was sharp, but there was something else, panic, maybe. I grabbed a pen, my heart pounding. What you've wanted all along. I signed my name, the ink smudging under my trembling fingers. We're done, Wayne. You're free. I shoved the papers at him, and they fluttered to the floor when he didn't take them. His face was a storm, shock, anger, something I couldn't name. You're serious? You're just gonna throw this at me out of nowhere? It's not out of nowhere, I said, my voice breaking. You've made it clear you don't want this. I'm not gonna keep begging for scraps of your tolerance. You hate Omegas? Fine. I'm one. So let's end this. He stepped closer, his pheromones spiking, mint heavy in the air. I never said I wanted out now. Grandpa won't. Stop hiding behind Henry. I cut him off, tears burning my eyes. This isn't about him. It's about you and me, and the fact that you can't stand who I am. I'll talk to Henry. He'll understand. Wayne's fists clenched, his breathing uneven. You're not listening. I don't. He stopped, his eyes darting to my phone as it buzzed on the counter. I grabbed it, desperate for a distraction, and opened the message without thinking. My breath caught. It was from the hospital, a report from my routine Omega checkup. The words blurred as I read them, pregnancy confirmed. Gestational age 6 weeks. My hand shook, the phone slipping to the counter. Pregnant? How? We'd been careful during my heat, hadn't we? Wayne was at my side in an instant, his voice soft but urgent. Colton, what's wrong? You're white as a sheet. I couldn't speak, my mind reeling. He picked up the phone, his eyes scanning the screen. A slow, almost disbelieving smile spread across his face, his pheromones shifting from tense to warm. A baby? He said, almost to himself. We're having a kid? I forced myself to meet his gaze, my voice hollow. Doesn't change anything. His smile faltered. What? I said it doesn't change anything. I repeated, stronger this time. I'm still signing those papers. We're still done. His face hardened, the warmth gone. You're pregnant with my kid, and you're still talking about divorce? Are you serious? I'm not trapping you, I said, my voice cracking. You don't want an Omega, Wayne. You've made that clear. I can raise this kid alone. I don't need you pretending to care. He stared at me, his eyes dark with something I couldn't read, hurt, maybe, or anger. Then he turned, storming out, the door slamming so hard the walls shook. I sank to the floor, the divorce papers scattered around me, my hand resting on my stomach. A baby. I was going to be a parent. And I just pushed away the one person who might have made it less terrifying. I wiped my eyes, forcing myself to breathe. I'd survived worse than Wayne's rejection. I'd survived this too. But as I sat there, alone in the silent house, I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd just made the biggest mistake of my life. Chapter 6. Hearts Laid Bare. I sat on the exam table, the hospital's sterile smell sharp in my nose, as the doctor scribbled on her clipboard. My checkup confirmed the pregnancy was progressing fine, but my low-grade omega status meant I needed regular alpha pheromones to keep my hormones stable. Daily temporary marks are best, she said, peering over her glasses. Synthetic pheromones won't cut it. You need the real thing, preferably from the father. I glanced at Wayne, who was slouched against the wall by the door, arms crossed, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. I tried to leave him in the waiting room, but he'd insisted on coming, claiming it was his responsibility. Now, his jaw was tight, his hazel eyes avoiding mine. Got it, I mumbled to the doctor, my stomach twisting. Daily marks? With Wayne? After I'd just signed divorce papers? This was a nightmare. In the car, Wayne broke the silence, his voice low. We should hold off on the divorce, Colton. At least until the baby's born. It's better for you, right? The pheromone thing. I stared at the dashboard, my hands clenched in my lap. I don't need your pity. I can figure it out. It's not pity, he snapped, then softened. Look, Grandpa's not getting any younger. If we split now, it'll stress him out. His heart's not great. Can we just keep things civil for a while? I sighed, too tired to argue. Fine. But I'm not moving back to playing happy couple. You do your thing, I'll do mine. He nodded, his knuckles white on the steering wheel. Deal. I'll move my stuff out tomorrow. The house is yours. True to his word, Wayne packed light, a few suits, some books, his laptop. Watching him carry boxes to his car felt like pulling a bandage off slow. The townhouse echoed without him, too big for just me and the tiny life growing inside. I kept busy, cleaning, ordering groceries, anything to avoid the ache of his absence. But every night, I'd catch a faint whiff of mint on the couch or my pillow, and my chest would tighten. Stupid hormones. A week later, my phone rang while I was watering the half-dead fern in the living room. It was my mom, her voice shrill through the speaker. Colton, where the hell are you? You haven't called in months. What kind of son ghosts his own mother? I gripped the phone, my jaw tight. What do you want, Mom? Don't take that tone with me, she huffed. I've got a nice alpha lined up for you. Good family, willing to pay. You're not getting any younger, you know. I laughed, cold and sharp. I'm pregnant, Mom. The father's gone, and I'm broke. Can you spot me some cash for the hospital bills? The line went silent, then exploded. Pregnant? You little! You got yourself knocked up and expect me to clean up your mess? I'm done with you. She hung up, and I stared at the screen, her number already blocked. Good riddance. I tossed the phone on the couch, my eyes stinging. I'd known she'd react like that, but it still hurt, like a bruise I couldn't stop pressing. A soft rustle made me turn, Wayne, standing in the doorway, a takeout bag in hand. His mint pheromone drifted over, calm and steady, and I realized he'd heard everything. You okay? He asked, setting the bag on the counter. His voice was gentle, not the usual snark, and it threw me off. I wiped my face, shrugging. Yeah. Just family drama. You know how it is. He didn't push, just started unpacking the food, burgers and fries, my favorite. I got too much. Thought we could eat together. If you're not busy. I raised an eyebrow, suspicious. You just happened to overorder? What's the catch? No catch, he said, too quick, his ears pink. Just eat, okay? You're growing a human. You need calories. I snorted but sat down, grabbing a fry. We ate in silence, the TV humming in the background. It felt nice, almost like before everything went to hell. But the divorce papers, still unsigned on his end, loomed in my mind. So did his words at Liam's. I couldn't let myself fall for this again. After dinner, Wayne lingered, sprawled on the couch like he belonged there. You're still watching that renovation show? He asked, nodding at the TV. Thought you'd have finished it by now. Got distracted, I said, curling up with a pillow. You don't have to stay, you know. I'm fine. He shrugged, his eyes on the screen. I'm not in a rush. Besides, you need pheromones, right? Might as well hang out. I side-eyed him, my heart doing a dumb flip. Don't pretend you're here for my health. What's your deal, Wayne? You've been weirdly nice since the hospital. He shifted, rubbing his neck. I'm not. Look, I messed up, okay? I know you heard me at Liam's, and I didn't mean it the way it sounded. I was just talking shit, blowing off steam. I don't think you're a nightmare. I froze, my pulse racing. Then why say it? You've been clear from day one, Omegas are trouble, and I'm the worst of them. You're not, he said, his voice rough. He turned to face me, his eyes intense. Colton, I was wrong. About Omegas, about you. I've been a jackass, and I'm sorry. I like you? A lot. More than I thought I could. My breath caught, and I hugged the pillow tighter, like it could shield me from the hope creeping in. You expect me to believe that? After everything? You're just saying this because of the baby. No, he said, leaning closer, his mint wrapping around me. I felt it before I knew about the kid. That night in the alley, when I thought I'd lose you, I was scared shitless. And every time you push me away, it hurts. I don't want to lose you, Colton. I want us to be real. I stared at him, my eyes burning. Wayne, I can't keep hoping you'll change. I heard you. I felt it. You broke something, and I don't know if I can trust you to fix it. He reached for my hand, slow, like I might bolt. Then let me try. Please. No divorce, no games. Just us figuring it out. For you, for the baby, for me. I'm in, Colton. All the way. I swallowed, my throat tight. His hand was warm, his pheromones steady, and for the first time, I believed him. Okay, I whispered, my voice shaky. But if you call me a nightmare again, I'm kicking you out. He laughed, soft and warm, and pulled me into a hug. His lips brushed my forehead, light as a promise. Deal, baby. No nightmares. Just you and me. I buried my face in his chest, his mint drowning out the world. Don't call me baby. I mumbled, my cheeks hot. Too late, baby. He teased, kissing my temple. You're stuck with me now. I shoved him, laughing despite myself. For the first time in months, the future didn't feel like a countdown. It felt like a beginning.